Happy Monday morning. This is how to stop explaining and start leading, how to stop compromising your boundaries. Leaders, boundaries are important and they're part of setting up the right context for you to be at your best and for your team to be at their best. And so my name's Melissa. I'm an executive coach and a management consultant, and I work with leaders every day. I work with high-level managers and executives, and I accompany them alongside setting up the right conditions for themselves to thrive, to be the leader that they want to be, to have more influence, to be more impactful with their communication, and to set up high-performing teams while having an impact across the organization. And boundaries are something that are always present and yet is something that we all kind of struggle with, don't we? Just a little
Yeah.
bit. Not struggle with the idea that we need them or even knowing what boundaries are necessary, but the struggle in the communication piece. So Kay is joining me on this live. Kay is part of my team. Kay, let us into your world. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I am Melissa's right hand as a client solutions specialist at In Charge Coaching. Essentially, I help Melissa deliver value to leaders by equipping them with the right resources and tools to build their executive presence and great workplaces. I am also the lead on public facing learning opportunities such as this live workshops, masterclasses. But today I am here in a different role. I am here to offer employee perspective because let's be real, boundaries are not just a leadership buzzword, they shape our day to day experience as a person, as a team. So I'm really excited for today's topic and what's to come. So, yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah, so let's talk about communicating boundaries. Like let's just open up the conversation around that. Um, before working with me, Kay, and before learning what you've learned, what was communicating boundaries for you like?
Well, where do I begin? So I struggled communicating my boundaries in the sense that I over explain my boundaries. Whenever I'm setting boundaries, I used to over explain the why, the logic behind setting the boundaries, so as to not come across as somebody who is unreasonable or like you
Right?
know rude.
Mhm.
But yeah, like there have been moments where you've set a boundary so clearly. You've said like, hey, I won't be available this week, and then you fear, oh, oh, what if the person thinks like, why is she not available to me, or like what's wrong with her? So
Yeah,
that fear of like being misinterpreted was big, was huge.
yeah. So fear of being misinterpreted. I'm almost kind of sensing some self-doubt,
uh
some over-explaining in the communication. And, I'm highlighting all of that. And I really want to take a moment to thank you for your vulnerability because
mhm,
this is the truth for most people, right? So this
mm,
is the struggle.
yeah.
And when we start over-explaining, and we add words and add words and add words, we kind of dig ourselves a hole.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like we're putting too many things on the table, and it opens up the room for negotiation, right?
Mm,
As we're reasoning and giving all of our reasoning, it opens up the room for the other person to try to counter our rationale with their rationale. Oh, well, you don't need to worry about that. Oh, don't worry, it's not going to take more than, oh, but it's just a little,
hmm. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see? So it really, really opens up that negotiation and even that power struggle. So now
Mm,
your boundaries are up for negotiation. It undermines your authority. The more you explain and you
yeah.
defend, It's giving a message that, I'm not quite clear in my boundary, or I'm feeling the need to explain it because,
Mm-hmm.
it gives them more power. And
Yeah.
it's not that we don't want to share power. That's not the issue. The issue is when it comes to your boundaries, they're yours and they're there for a reason. And then the third thing is the more you explain, the more the message gets diluted,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So the message is no longer strong and assertive and confident. It starts getting wishy-washy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an added piece there that I'd like to bring in because you talked about being rational, right? We really start to explain the rationality of our boundaries, but our boundaries are not just rational, they're also emotional.
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
And we want to bring in that emotional piece, not explaining the emotional, but standing
Mm-hmm.
in the, here it's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So not taking the emotion out of it necessarily, not being aggressive, not being, but standing in the this is really important to me as you're
Mm-hmm.
communicating it. So bringing in the emotional piece is really important. So what comes up for you as I'm explaining that? Now I'll kind of ask whoever's listening right now, what is coming up for you as you think about the problems that you encounter as you're stating or communicating boundaries?
For me, I used to think that if someone explained something really thoroughly, it meant they cared more. But working with you taught me it's actually the opposite sometimes. Like there are moments when you have to set a boundary and give no reason, and that's it. Like no reason, no guilt. And the result was that I didn't feel dismissed. I felt respected, because it was clear there was no gray area, and the person sort of understood it better than when I gave them like a long winded reason.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
It does open up the room for questioning. It does open up the room for what is this really about? Why is there so much going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, there's three things that I really think about when it comes to communicating with confidence, communicating boundaries with more assertiveness. And so the first thing, as you'll notice, is not don't say too much. You
Mm-hmm.
actually don't need to say a whole lot, but you need to be clear so that the person who is listening, it leaves no room for doubt.
Mm.
It is
Yeah.
clear what you're communicating with as little words as possible. So I
Mm-hmm.
always look at, if we need to communicate it in a paragraph, can we say the same thing in one sentence,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Then the second piece is understand why it matters to you. And bringing in that emotional piece into it. It's I need to know why it's important to me before I can communicate it with assertiveness and confidence to another. If I'm not sure of
Yeah.
myself, or if I have any hangups around that boundary internally, it's going to show up in the external communication.
Mm. Yeah.
So it needs to be very, very clear internally about why this matters and why I wouldn't compromise this boundary. Or
Mm-hmm.
where is that line for me? What is non-negotiable and where are my negotiables
Mm-hmm.
and why? And the third piece, if you're going to be communicating assertively, is to think about the consistency of your message. The consistency through this conversation, the consistency after this conversation, and throughout your conversations as you move forward. So be consistent. And when you're consistent, right,
Mm-hmm.
it leaves no room for, well, you did it like that before, or why is
Mm.
it different now? And it's
Yeah.
easier to be assertive. This is the way that it is. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to share with you 5 little tricks that are going to make a difference. All right, 5 little things that I keep in mind all the time when it comes to communicating boundaries, and I'm hoping that maybe you'll write them down and pick one of them that you want to start practicing. So are you ready?
Yes.
5 tips. And Kate, I want to hear from you
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
you started practicing as we're
Mm.
going through this, because I know that you're not new to this list.
Yeah.
So first item on the list is keep it simple. Keep it simple. The cleaner the delivery, the easier it is to deliver. The less room
Mhm.
there is to misinterpret and negotiate and create power struggles. So keep it
Yeah.
simple. An example of a spoken boundary for me might be I'm available until 4 o'clock today.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a boundary that you're used to hearing.
Yes.
Very simple. It's very clear. I'm
Mm-hmm.
available. I'm not using only available. I'm available until 4 o'clock today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually available till 3 o'clock today.
Okay.
So keep it simple. Have you been
Yeah.
practicing this one?
Yeah, I have. Like I have been a person who used to over explain my boundaries, and I thought like if I didn't justify my needs, people would just not understand it. But honestly, like since coaching with you, I've started practicing that same clarity, and it's freeing. Like I've learned that people don't need paragraphs, they just need certainty and clear communication. And that has sort of helped me build trust with my teammates, my people around me, because now they know what to expect from me.
Yeah, awesome. So we're going to keep it simple. If you can take
Yeah.
away one thing, keep it simple. Keep it simple. I always like to write out what I want to say, and then I write it again in the keep it simple format.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Number 2, we're going to stop apologizing. I'm sorry, but can just like
Right.
leave your vocabulary, please.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but doesn't belong there. If we want to do anything in terms of validating or acknowledging the other person's need, do that, but do it in a way that you're not apologizing for your boundary. Your boundary exists for a reason, right?
Hmm.
When we choose our boundaries, and boundaries are very unique to us, we're choosing them because they're part of setting up the right context for us to thrive, for us to have
Hmm.
better conversations, better relationships, better ways of working together. And so we don't really need to apologize for setting that up, setting up the right context in which we both win.
Hmm.
So I'm hearing that you're needing X. I'm ready to provide you with Y so that we can do X and Y together. Right? Very clear. I'm acknowledging you. I'm also acknowledging myself. And here's what I'm ready to do.
Hmm.
That's within my boundary.
Yeah.
Right? Avoid apologizing. We do not need to apologize. Are you still apologizing?
No, no, I've stopped apologizing. Because,
Very
there's a difference between being liked and then being respected. And when you stop apologizing, you stop trying to control how people feel about your boundaries, and that's just liberating. Like, that's just the best feeling in the world.
Yes. And it's about how you feel about your boundaries. That's the most
Yes.
important. And when we
Yes.
feel good about our boundaries,
Yeah.
it takes away that need to please
Mhm.
or that concern, that self-doubt. So we're
Mhm.
not going to apologize. We're just going to acknowledge the other person and their needs, and we're going to state what we need to state. Numéro 3, number 3, focus on the outcome.
Hmm.
Okay. So often when we're stating a boundary, what we're going to be thinking of is what we're losing out on or what the other person will lose out on because of the boundary. So we often think and focus and over focus on the loss. That's also
Mhm.
why we want to apologize and say,
Yeah.
sorry, but
Yeah.
you're not going to get the thing that you're asking for.
Hmm.
We focus on the loss, and I would invite you to start focusing on the outcome. So as we operate within the boundary that you've set up, what is the outcome of that? Well, that actually helps us work better together and be more efficient and for the both of us to be able to meet our needs.
Mm. Yeah.
So we want to bring in the outcome and then the boundary starts feeling good, right? If the person you're communicating with can see and sense and understand and hear from you how they're benefiting from this other way of doing things,
Hmm.
now we're not losing, we're gaining. And this is where we start building that bridge. What's in it
Yeah.
for us? So instead of being a wall and a loss, now we're saying here's a bridge with an outcome.
Hmm. Love that.
Making
You're
sense?
gaining, not losing. Yeah.
We're gaining, not losing. That's why that's a big reason why we feel bad about boundaries because we feel like we're losing
Hmm.
or the other person is losing something. So what are we
Yeah.
doing? State how we can work together. So this is the next step in building that bridge, right? So if I, speak to Kay here and I say I'm available until 3 today,
Hmm.
I know that you're working on project X and you're going to need feedback on Y. Um, I'm available for a quick check-in around 2 o'clock.
Mm. Yeah.
Is that something that's possible for you? So now we're respecting the boundaries that I'm available until 3, working on taking out the only because that's apologizing. I'm available until 3 and I can meet at 2 to give her what she needs for her projects.
Hmm.
So this is how we can work together. Anything you want to add here, Kay?
Yeah, like I feel like this is so important. Like I used to dread setting limits. Like if I said no, I had to write a whole essay to soften the blow. But now, like I've started to learn how to let like silence do the work. When you taught me that boundaries don't always need to be explained, just upheld, and then stating like how you and I can work together, it just felt like a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what happens, like people respect you more when you do these things, like when you keep it simple, avoid apologizing, focus on the outcome, and avoid over explaining, and then stating how you can work together.
Yeah. And so this is something that we use together every day in every conversation. We're constantly stating how we can work together. So it comes from me, but it also comes from you,
Hmm.
right? I'll ask you for something. I'll be like, okay, we have this project. It would need to be done within the next 2 weeks before blah, blah, blah. Can you tell me more about how you want to tackle that? And then you tell me how you
Mm-hmm.
can engage in that work, or how we can
Mm-hmm.
work together in making that happen. So
Yeah.
you're also setting up those conditions. So it's not a one-way street, it's two ways.
Mm. Yes. Yes, for sure.
And that's not scary, it's part of how we communicate every day.
And it's beautiful.
It's very normalized in my
Yeah.
world, in our world.
Yes.
All right. And last but not least is stand firm with your non-negotiables.
Mm.
When you are clear on where that limit is, we all have boundaries that are negotiables and some that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important to start really getting clear on what is and isn't negotiable. And when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to your non-negotiables, they're non-negotiable, not even once, not even if. There's no conditions, right, that make them okay, right?
Yes. Yes.
We are going to hold on to those. But the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are negotiable, now we can look at those and see what conditions, what limits we can set on those that make it,
Yeah.
that we can, and you, Kay, you have a sense of where I'm negotiable and where I'm non-negotiable, because I
Yeah.
firm with these things.
Yes. Yes.
And that gives you the room to also be firm with your non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does.
So non-negotiables are non-negotiables for a reason. And so as you're doing that work in exploring your boundaries, you can make a list. Here are my negotiables, here are my non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that you'll have a very clear short list of, these are the things that I will not do,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
An
Yeah.
example of a non-negotiable for me is I will not defend or explain.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't engage in a power struggle, essentially. And so I'm going to do something else, right? I have a, here's what I'm willing to do instead, but that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
The moment that I'm being asked to defend myself, yeah, no, we're not doing that dance. We're going to do
Yeah.
a different dance, one that's more collaborative and co-creative.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So what have you learned today, Kay, in terms of what we've discussed so far? And for those of you watching right now, I'm curious, what are you taking away at this point? I want to add a little, another layer to this before we end.
Yeah, I think what I've learned today is that boundaries create structure. And if you're thinking like, okay, what if someone push back? What if someone does push back? You
But
don't owe them more explanation. You owe yourself and them some consistency. Consistency is very important, is what I've learned throughout this.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So choose confidence over compromise,
Yeah.
right? Choose to be confident with your boundaries, and that comes from the inside. So when I think of compromise, right,
Mhm.
I don't compromise my boundaries, I don't compromise my needs. I'll co-create with another person an
Yeah.
image, a picture of how we're going to work together so that we can both meet our needs and consider each other's boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is a world where you can have some flexibility and adapt to situations and adapt to people without compromising your boundaries or your needs,
Yes.
right? Let me be part of that world, and that is a world in which I live in. And
Mm-hmm.
I want you to, I want to invite you in this world. You can be collaborative. You can be a good friend. You can be a good, caring boss, a
Mm-hmm.
leader, a manager, someone who is respected and trusted and liked without compromising yourself, compromising your values, compromising your needs. We're going to stop compromising and we're going to start communicating and feeling confident and feeling okay with what we're ready to state in terms of boundaries. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is exactly why I created the Boundaries and Balance Masterclass. So if you've had the pleasure of attending one, you know what's in it for you. If you haven't joined us yet, we are having our next masterclass on July 22nd at 12 p.m. Eastern. That means 1 p.m. East Atlantic for my Atlantic folks.
Yes.
And I'm going to be over the 2 hours covering exactly how you can get good with your boundaries internally so that you can communicate them externally with assertiveness and confidence. So I'm going to show you and walk you through the exact process that I take with my clients. And this is the thing is I can give you tips and tricks and frameworks and I can tell you exactly what to say. But what's going to really make that difference is where it's coming from,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right?
See
And
that.
we've been coming back to that throughout this conversation about where is it coming from? How do you feel about it? Are
Mm-hmm.
you are you able to own it and feel good about that?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to be addressing that piece, that internal piece. And we're also going to be going into the communication. How do you take these items that we just talked about and integrate it into your communication over time so that you can gain that respect across the organization? So
Yes.
join us. If you come live, we do have a really great workbook for you. So I've created the work. Well, it was a joint project between me and Kate. So I laid out the groundwork and she pulled it all together. So we have a great workbook to accompany the masterclass so that you can walk away and have your blueprint so you can actually rinse and repeat the process for yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when it comes to boundaries, right? Now is always a great time to revisit them because as we go through life, as we upgrade in our career, as things around us change, our boundaries needs to be upgraded. If you're operating on the boundaries of 10 years ago, they may not be the right conditions for you to be at your best
Yes.
now. So this is a
Yes.
wonderful opportunity to hit reset, to look at
Yes, it
yourself,
is.
what you need right now to be at your best, and
Mm-hmm.
make some tweaks on how you're communicating those things to get more of what you want to create the balance that you need in your role and in your life.
Yes.
So, how do you join the masterclass? You need to go to the link inchargecoaching.ca slash
Yes.
masterclass.
Masterclass.
And Kay's going to drop that link, or you can simply drop masterclass below and we'll send you a DM, a direct message with the link so that you can sign up and save your spot
Mm-hmm.
completely free. This is an investment in yourself, a
Yeah.
2 hour investment that's going to buy you back a whole lot of peace and a whole lot of time in your calendar. So I'll see
Yes.
you on July 22nd, which is just around the corner. That's next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is next week, Tuesday.
All right. So we'll see you then. Anything you want to add, Kay?
We have had leaders say it was the best 2 hours they spent all month because with the workbook, it's so super thoughtfully designed. It it's built to help you reflect during the session and leave with actions you can take immediately. So it just not makes you think, it also makes you do. So it's very important, and I think if you're been overstuck in the over explaining mode and in constant negotiation, I think you are going to want to be there. So you can bring a friend, a colleague, and anyone you think who would benefit from this session.
Perfect. So we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Have a great one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.